All right. So we're doing a quick little review on the Nock release, archery release by Nock On Archery. Definitely an awesome brand here. So the title is "Don't Knock It Till You Try It," right? So this release is actually super great. I will start off by saying that I am new to archery. I've only been shooting archery for a couple of weeks now. So there's that. I haven't tried all the different releases on the market, but what I can tell you is that, what is today's February 3rd, 2020. I bought my PSE Phenom target bow on the 22nd of January. So that's the amount of time I've really been shooting bows. And I was really excited. The reason why I was so excited to do this review, usually I haven't done, a review in a long time. But the reason why I was excited is honestly, I shot this Vegas target today in my basement. It was at 40 feet. So 2/3 of a distance of normal Vegas shoot, right? But still, I scored a 299 and I had 19 X's at 13 and a half yards or 40 feet. And for me, that was just absolutely fantastic. And I shot it with this Nock release by Nock On Archery. And so we'll go ahead and jump into it. For me, I broke things down into several different categories. Fit and finish is the first category. And honestly, I gave the fit and finish a 10 out of 10. The anodized aluminum is great. All of uh, you know, the fit and finish of this in terms of how it looks, the engraving, all of that stuff looks great to me. I kind of like this green color. Kind of reminds me of um, Boba Fett a little bit. That green metal, which is kind of cool. I like the fit and finish quite a bit. In terms of build quality, super solid, very very tough. You can tell this thing is very well made. I've been shooting with this for a couple of days now, probably about a week, but I've shot literally, I would say probably 15 to 20 hours of shooting on this. So I've really been putting it through its paces a lot. I'll shoot, before the kids go to school. I'll shoot during lunch. I work from home, so I'll shoot during lunch and then I shoot after work in the basement here, and that's where I get that 40-foot shot is in my basement. So I've been putting a lot of hours in there. In terms of build quality, I have had obviously in the 15, 20 hours I've put on that thing, absolutely zero concerns there. So I'd say 10 out of 10 build quality. In terms of adjustment, you might notice that I've got the barrel here set on the Nock side, which is because I'm a southpaw. So when I'm here, come up, you put your two fingers through this, or you can even put this one here too, but I usually use two fingers there, and you put your finger on the barrel. I've got mine set to the left-hand side, and I appreciate the ability to be able to switch it. Being a left-handed guy, there's oftentimes not a lot of products on the market for me. You can actually pivot this barrel, back and forth, so there's some adjustability there. Also, there's adjustability in your travel. So if you see this black screw there, that's how you can adjust how much travel you have. And so you push this in, and that will cock it essentially, and then your travel is adjusted by that black screw, and it'll determine how far you actually have to pull it before your shot breaks. At the top here, you have like a screw, and that's going to increase your tension of your the spring tension of the thumb release here. So you got travel release, tension release. Between the two of them, it's highly adjustable. I was actually surprised how adjustable it was. I come from like a precision shooting background, so new to archery, and I was thinking, oh sweet, I'm going to make this thing as crisp and as nice as possible. And I did. It was like super crisp, super nice. You didn't have to hardly touch it at all. But what I found is when I be at full draw, the idea, well, first of all, I would say watch John Dudley's School of Nock videos. They're going to teach you how to shoot with proper form. They're going to teach you how to shoot really well. This isn't the best shooting ever. Like I said, I'm new, but I'm actually proud of the shooting that I'm doing. You know, at 20 yards, I think my top score so far is, you know, mid 280s. But after, you know, putting in the practice that I've done today, I haven't shot on a target for the past couple of days at 20 yards. So we'll see how we do. Anyway, back to the review. In terms of adjustability and all of that stuff, you're going to want to watch John Dudley's video as well. It's like adjusting your Nock to it and silverback releases, I think is what it's called. And you're going to want to watch that. He's going to walk you through how to set it up, how to adjust it so it works for you. But it is very adjustable. I would give probably the adjustability on this release maybe a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason why I say that is some other releases have bars that are longer. You can adjust them. You know, they have the ability to do a 3, 4, or 2 finger adjustments. So you have, you know, other releases out there that just have a wider array of adjustments. But honestly, you could say that those are great, but to me, this is made the way I want it. So I like the 2 finger. I think it's great. So yeah, adjustability is wonderful. Performance, I can tell you I've shot the several of the other Carter releases at a local bow shop. You know, I've shot a few different, about 10 ends with several different releases. And out of all the Carter releases I've tried, this is actually made by Carter releases. It will come in a Carter release package and everything. So anyway, out of all those releases, I definitely like this one the best for sure. I like the fact that it is 2 finger. I think that's wonderful. Performance, I've definitely had a lot better performance with this than anything else. This last time, you know, shooting at 40 feet, it was like just a dream in terms of getting it where I needed it to be. I've only today was where I was able to get this release adjusted just the way that I wanted it in order for it to be breaking when I wanted it and how I wanted it, to where it was a surprise shot. But when I had it adjusted super light and super crisp, like I would my rifle trigger, you're in your back wall, and when I'd get in my back wall, I'd put my thumb on the barrel, it would go off before I wanted it to. It was like too much of a surprise release. Ideally, you want that surprise break, right? You want that surprise break to happen when you're on target and you're ready for that arrow to go down range. So for me, at this adjustment level, it really is working super well today. It's like I said, I felt like I could hit anything I want with it. So in terms of performance, I would give it a 10 out of 10 for sure. It's definitely great. Price, the price point on this is generally going to be about $200. And I know on the Nock On website, Nock On Archery website, they don't always have them in stock. So I would tell you to just go on there, check, and see when they're there. I ordered mine. It came in like 3 days from the time I ordered it to the time I got it. The other thing is that it was like the next day it was sold out again. And people at the bow shop were like, dude, how did you get that? And they were like, it's been sold out, blah, blah, blah. And then I checked it again today, and these are back in stock. So just keep your eyes peeled for them. You'll see them pop up. I think they're getting better at being able to produce them and fill demand. Okay, so shipping was great. Price is great. I would say this is probably mid-tier pricing. You're going to see some other releases out there that are more expensive, and you're going to see some that are less expensive. But you know, I'm a big believer that you do get what you pay for, and when you hold this and you feel it, you know that this thing is definitely well built. All right, so let's move on to the next thing, which would be learning curve. So the learning curve behind the Nock 2, it's probably going to be a little bit longer, and the only reason why I say that is because there is more adjustability to it. I went from a trigger release, so with the trigger release, I was down here, and I could just punch that trigger. Punch, it's probably not the right word. That's not a good thing, but I could definitely pull the trigger. And it was something I was a little bit more used to coming from the rifle world. And it was great, but what I found was that at the amount of shooting I was doing, that wrist strap pulls on your wrist and it kills your wrist after if you shoot a lot. Like I've fallen into the archery addiction mode. It just hurts your wrist. It just hurts your wrist after a long time. And the other thing is you have to adjust the wrist strap exactly the same way every time for it to break the same way and to be at the same position, which isn't always easy to do, right? So that messes up your shot a little bit. Ideally, on this thing, you're going to be wanting to have your hand, like this, come up, and that way, you're not curling your hand like this. It's like that. That way you're holding it, and if you hold it that way, it's going to be the same exact way every single time. You have this V that it's really formed, from holding this. You come up like that. Your one knuckle's gonna be above your jawline, and another's gonna be below. It just really helps you hit your anchor points every time the same way every single time, which is nice in terms of consistency. And with consistency, that's the name of the game with accuracy, whether it's archery or rifles or whatever, shooting a basketball, however it is. Okay, so the learning curve will be a little bit longer. I've shot this, like I said, probably between 15 and 20 hours in the week or so that I've had it. And through that time, it was originally really frustrating for me because I just felt like I've got this sweet new release, and I had like a less expensive wrist release with the index finger trigger. And, I was shooting really well with it. When I got this, it took my shots opened up, and I was expecting them to really not do that. I expected them to get super tight, but I had adjusted it too light. And then what I did is I changed it to I changed the adjustment so it had a lot more resistance. So it's a little bit harder to pull to break the thumb release. So I set it up that way, and when I did, what I found is that I would hit the back wall, and I would just tell myself, okay, pull, 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 and I'd pull through it. And as I was doing that, the reason why I'd made it lighter is because when you've got it lighter, the trigger will break easier, and your pin doesn't float a lot in front. Your front sight pin isn't floating much. But when you are pulling through the shot and you're in the back wall and you're pulling through it, your front pin will start to float a little bit. And that worried me, and it was because I wasn't really trusting that float, right? But then once I just thought, I'm going to increase the resistance on this thing, and then I'm just going to trust the float. What I found is that my shot grips just started tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening. And then one thing happened that was just kind of like, I think it just started getting squeaky. Like when I'd hit the when I'd cock it, it would just make this, like you could hear the springs, like, metal against metal, like squeakiness, and it was just annoying. So what I did is I put like a drop of oil on it. And I'm a cyclist, so I put just some chain lube, just put a little drop of it on the cocker here, and then I put another one right here. And when I did that, I was freaked out that I had messed up my release, because what was normally like a solid release all of a sudden became this super soft, crisp, easy release again, like I had made it the first time. And I was like, oh crap, I hope I didn't lube this thing up too much, and now it's like too easy and I won't be able to adjust it to where I need it to be. So there's a set screw. The set screws right there. You just undo that set screw a couple of turns, or a turn or so, and then it'll allow you to adjust your tension screw here. I probably twisted it in probably 2 full rotations to where I had it. And what I found is, before, when I first got this, it was super, I'd cock it. Sometimes it wouldn't actually cock because I had it so finely tuned. It wouldn't do, like the resistance on it. This tension screw here was so light that it wouldn't cock because it didn't have hardly any resistance on it. So once I screwed that in, what happened was the resistance every single time it would cock, which was a good thing. I didn't have to worry about messing with it. And it just operated much better and more consistent as well. Like my trigger brake is way more consistent with that little bit of lube that I put in the front and that I put in the cocking mechanism here. So I tightened up the resistance, and then it put it kind of where I needed it to be. And that's when, I did that. I was able to get this 299. Again, it's a 40 feet instead of 60, so I'm not that cool yet. But my shot grips just tightened up super, super tight. In fact, I was just shooting groups at my Merrill bag target in the basement, and the groups were just getting so tight that my arrows were starting to hit against each other big time. And I was like, okay, I got to shoot at different targets now, or I'm going to start busting up my arrows pretty bad. So what I would say in terms of learning curve is make some adjustments to it. Don't just try it and just try and muscle your way through it. I did that for too long, in my opinion. I should have probably shot, I don't know, 10 ends, and then, maybe tried something different. I would just say, watch John Dudley's videos, and he'll talk to you in the School of Nock about how to break that shot. There's also reviews on how to use this particular, or tutorials on how to use this particular release, so it breaks really well every single time. But for me, I would just get to the point. What I learned is I had to straighten my hand out like this. If I had my hand curved, then it caused all sorts of problems. So if you have your hand straight like that, where it's I don't know if you can see that well. You keep your hand straight, and then I would put this barrel right on this line here, and then I would just with that resistance, I would essentially just pull back and just keep pulling slowly but surely through that back wall, and it'll break nice and crisp. And it's not to where it's kind of a surprise shot still. Well, it is a surprise shot still, but my pin's on the center dot, and I'm ready to go. And then I start pulling, and it doesn't take like superhuman strength to pull through the back wall with this before it fires. So don't set it up for a super, super heavy where you're just pulling like a champ, because your pin's going to start getting real crazy. But also don't make it too light, or else it's going to be tough. Anyway, fit and finish great, build quality is great, adjustability is wonderful. Performance, I couldn't be happier with the performance that I've seen so far. Like I said, I'm a new shooter, but just being able to put in 1-inch groups at 40 feet every single time, for 30 arrows in a row, except for one. I dropped one outside of that, but 1-inch groups at 40 feet every time, basically. Is fantastic. My only tips would be is maybe give yours a little bit of lube, put a drop of lube here, drop of lube here, wipe off thick, don't put on too much, just a tiny drop. Work through it a little bit, then make sure that you've adjusted your travel screw and your resistance properly, and you're going to find that you love this release. So anyways, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Go out and buy confidently, and I hope that this release helps you as much as it's helped me. Keep on shooting, my friends. We'll catch you later.